Instructions for Relief Printmaking for Beginners. Here's a quick overview of the agenda for instructions for relief printmaking for beginners. 1. Introduction. 2. Vocabulary. 3. Supplies list. 4. Remember safety first. 5. Find an appropriate place. 6. Decide on your design. 7. Prepare for transferring. 8. Transfer design to matrix/plate/block. 9. Begin carving. 10. Prepare paper for registration. Number 11. Inking the block. Number 12. Printing and the big reveal. Number 13. Leaving prints out to dry. Number 14. Repeat 13, 14, and 15 for multiple editions. Number 15. Cleanup and conclusion. Introduction. What is relief printmaking? Well, what it is you carve away what you don't want to print. The raised relief surface is what gets inked and transferred to the paper. Think of it like a giant reusable stamp that you can design and create yourself. Here's some examples of what we're going to make today. Here's some essential vocabulary. Relief printing, a printmaking process where the unwanted areas of a block are carved away. The raised areas of the block are charged with ink, usually a roller, and printed onto a substrate such as paper or fabric, e.g. lino cut and wood cut. Lino cut, a relief print made using a carved piece of linoleum. Matrix, the printing block itself, in our case linoleum. Brayer, the roller used to apply ink evenly onto the matrix. Baron, a handheld tool used to apply pressure to the back of the paper to transfer the ink. You can use a simple spoon as an alternative. Relief, the raised surface of the matrix that holds the ink. Edition, a set of identical prints numbered and signed by the artist. Block, the material into which a design is carved for the relief printing, e.g. lino or plywood, etc. Registration, the lining up of print layers or a single print layer onto the substrate. Registration marks, guides drawn or carved to lay in the proper positioning of the matrix and substrate in the printing process. Carving supplies list. Carving block, hard linoleum. Carving tools, gouges, different tips. V gouges for fine lines, U gouges for clearing large areas. Remember, safety warning, be careful not to cut yourself, the tools are sharp. Spatula, for applying and spreading ink. Ink, water-soluble block printing ink. It's easier to clean up than oil-based. Safety warning, be careful about ruining your clothes. Brayer/ink roller, a soft rubber brayer. Paper, smooth paper like printmaking paper, rice paper, or even heavyweight drawing paper. Baron/burnisher, or you can use a simple wooden spoon. Drawing supplies, pencil, HB, 2B, or even higher. Mechanical works best. Eraser, pencil sharpener, Sharpie/permanent marker. You should have two colors, black and another color that's lighter. Tracing paper. Tracing paper is a thin paper used to trace over your design. Masking tape, used to fasten the paper to the block and keep it from moving. Registration board, or large sheet of paper to map registrations on. Glass sheet/inking slab. Safety warning, always be careful when working with glass in case it may break and cut you. It's a good idea to tape along the edges to keep the glass from breaking or from having sharp edges so you don't get cut. Safety gear, cut-resistant gloves can work, eye protection, and also a non-slip mat. Cleaning supplies, newspaper, dishwasher soap, rubber gloves, bucket and sponge, dry old rags, or junk cloth used to wipe up the ink when you're done. Remember, safety first. When carving Always cut away from your body with your non-carving hand behind the blade. Use a bench hook to stabilize the block or non-slip mat to reduce slipping. Work in a well-ventilated area, especially when using inks and solvents. Wear appropriate protective gloves. Wear appropriate eye protection. Take your time. If you rush or try to carve when you're tired, you may likely hurt yourself. Find an appropriate place to work. A clean, dry place with no wind and it's easy to clean. Also where you won't be disturbed. Decide on your design. Make sure it's simple and clear. And we are doing a one-colored design. So this is the design I will be using to demonstrate. Preparing for transferring. If at any time you need to pause the video, go ahead. Step 1. Tape down your design onto a flat surface, such as the table in the example. Step 2. Tape down a sheet of tracing paper on top and trace your design with your pencil. Step 3. Remove the traced design from the table and flip it over. Step 4. Place the flipped over design onto your linoleum block. Step 5. Tape the design that has been flipped over onto your linoleum block. Transfer design to matrix/plate/block. Step 1. Your design should be taped, flipped over onto the linoleum block. It'll be taped sturdily so you can go over it. So on your second step, you're going to go trace again the back of the design. This should transfer the graphite on the opposing side onto the linoleum block. Step 3. Take the tracing paper off. What should remain is, on step 4, a graphite image of the transfer design. Continuing the transferring design to the block. The first step will be coloring over your graphite design that was transferred onto the block with permanent marker. This will make it easier to work with and easier to see, and also so it won't get rubbed off. In step 2, you can see we finished coloring it in with black marker. Step 3, color over the other part of the linoleum that wasn't covered with black marker with a lighter color. I used red in this instance. Step 4, this should be the finished product. 2 colors, and when carved out, you'll see the color of the linoleum, knowing where you carved out. Now let's begin carving. Remember, about safety, always carve away from yourself, away from your body, and try to make sure that your hands are always behind where you're carving. Step 1. Carve out the simple shapes. Also, if it's really detailed areas, use one of the sharp knives of the carving tools to carve around there and go over it. Continue there from step 2, carving out larger shapes. Take your time so you don't hurt yourself and also so you don't mess up any details. Step 3, I finished carving out all the lettering within my design. Step 4, I made an abstract outside design where it's just a bunch of scratch marks to remove layers of linoleum. And step 5, don't forget to clean up. Preparing for registration. Step 1, make sure you know the size of your paper and you have your registration block. Step 2, place your paper over your block and figure out where you want your print to print on. In the center or to the side, it's up to you. Once you've decided, you're going to get a pencil or a marker if you can and trace around the edge of the paper. And wherever you trace is where the paper will lay every time you print. Step 3, get your masking tape and go along the lines of the pencil that you traced around the paper that it was registered to the block. Now you'll have guiding lines, which are registration marks for when you need to lay down your paper on top of your block. Step 4, this is how it will look. Step 5, this is how the traced lines will look around your block, and those lines indicate where your paper will lay. Step 6, this is how the tape, which is now your registration mark, will look when the block is placed there. Inking the block. Lay down your glass sheet where you're going to put the ink on. Put on a small amount of your ink and spread it out with your spatula. Once you spread it out with your spatula, get your roller and evenly distribute it on your roller, where you hear a kind of sucking sound. Once you're done with that, you are ready to roll your ink onto your plate. Reapply ink as needed till it's evenly distributed across your plate. You'll see this in step 2 and 3. Continuously go back to your ink and evenly apply it onto your plate. Step 4. Place your paper on top of your plate / block according to your registration marks. Printing and the big reveal. Step 1. Now that your paper is along your registration marks on top of your inked block, you're going to start to put pressure on with your baren. Step 2. Press firmly with your baren across the whole backside of the paper. This should allow the ink to transfer from your inked block onto your paper. Only the raised areas will be transferred. Step 3. The big reveal. Let's begin to peel off your paper from the block, revealing the print you've created. Step 4. This is how it should look. Leaving prints out to dry. Personally, I use little clips that hang my prints above me, but you can also just lay them on a flat surface where they won't be disturbed until they dry. Either way works. Here are some of my prints and the additions I've created. Repeat 13, 14, and 15 for multiple editions. If you repeat these steps, you can have as many prints as you have paper and ink. Now that you have your block print, it can be easily reprinted. Cleanup and conclusion. Once you have created enough prints that you would like, you can number them in their editions. Let's say you made 20 prints, you name 1 out of 20, and then the second one will be 2 out of 20, 3 out of 20, so on, for as many prints as you have created. Now, once you're done with that, it's time to clean up. Use the soap, the sponge, and your rags to wipe up most of the ink and clean up your table or anything else that got dirty. Be careful not to leave any ink left behind, because it can really ruin your clothes or furniture. And to finish this off, I hope you enjoyed learning how to do a simple relief print using linoleum. It's a fun process,